Jack sat on the edge of his new bed, staring at the metal walls of his small room. Everything looked different from Earth. The room was clean but cold, with glowing lines running along the walls. The air smelled slightly metallic. This was his first night on the Interspecies University space station. He was nervous but also excited. Jack was just a young engineer from a small town, but now he was among aliens from across the galaxy. He had arrived that morning, carrying only a small bag of clothes and tools. The university had assigned him a roommate, but he hadn't met them yet. Jack hoped it would be another human. It would be easier to talk, easier to live. He unpacked his things slowly, trying to feel a home. The door slid open with a soft sound. Jack turned and saw her. She stepped in silently, her silver skin catching the light. Her body was tall and slim. She had 4 eyes, 2 on the front, 2 on the sides of her head. Her hair was dark blue and tied back. She wore a simple uniform like his, but hers had strange symbols on the sleeve. Jack stood up quickly. "Hi, I'm Jack," he said, trying to smile. She looked at him for a moment, then spoke. "Lyra." Her voice was soft, calm. Jack waited for more, but she said nothing else. She walked to the other side of the room and started placing her things on the shelf. Jack sat down again, unsure what to do. The room stayed quiet for a long time. Jack glanced at her. She was focused, not even looking at him. He wondered what planet she was from. What did she eat? Did she sleep like humans? Did she even like humans? He wanted to ask, but he didn't want to make her uncomfortable. That night, Jack turned off the light and lay in bed. The bed was firm and the blanket was thin. He stared at the ceiling, still not used to the soft humming of the station. He could hear Lyra's quiet breathing from across the room. Slowly, he started to drift into sleep. Something woke him. Jack's eyes opened in the dark. He felt something heavy on top of him. At first, he thought he was dreaming. Then he saw Lyra's glowing eyes looking into his. Her face was close. Too close. Her hands pressed against his chest. "Lyra?" Jack whispered, confused. She didn't answer. Her body was shaking. Jack could feel her heart, or whatever she had, beating fast. Her skin was warmer than before. She looked scared, not angry, not mean, just scared. "Are you okay?" he asked, trying to sit up. She didn't move. Suddenly, Jack felt something strange. A sharp pain ran through his head. It wasn't normal pain. It was like a memory that wasn't his. He saw images, blurry shapes, bright lights, voices in a language he didn't understand. He gasped. Lyra closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Then she rolled off him and sat on the floor, holding her head. Jack sat up quickly. "What's happening? What was that?" Lyra looked up at him. I think we are linked." "Linked? What do you mean?" She struggled to explain. "During a lab test, I touched a neural crystal. It reacted to my mind. Then you touched it too. It might have made a link." Jack shook his head. "That's not possible." "It is rare," she said, "but it can happen. Between minds." Jack stood up and walked in a circle. His head still hurt. "So now what?" "We're stuck." "I don't know. I didn't mean to. I was sleeping. Then I felt something wrong. I woke up and followed the feeling. It led me to you." He sat down next to her. "Okay, so what do we do now?" Lyra looked at him with those calm eyes. "We see the medical team tomorrow. They will help." They sat in silence. Jack looked at her hands. They were shaking less now. He reached out and gently touched one. She didn't pull away. The room felt quiet again, but it was a new kind of quiet. Jack didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but something had changed. He didn't feel scared. He felt connected, and it surprised him more than anything else. Jack didn't sleep much after that strange night. Every time he closed his eyes, he felt like someone was watching him, not in a bad way, but like someone was sharing the same dream. When he finally woke up in the morning, Lyra was already standing by the door. She had a small bag and was waiting quietly. "We must go to the med lab now," she said softly. Jack got dressed quickly. He was still unsure about what happened. The memory of Lyra on top of him, shaking and scared, was clear in his mind. And that flash of images that were not his, It still made his head ache. They walked through the metal halls of the space station. Other students passed them by. Some stared. Most didn't notice. Jack walked beside Lyra, but didn't know what to say. She seemed calm again, but he could feel something under the surface. A strange pull in his chest, like her emotions were nearby. At the med lab, a human doctor and a short alien nurse greeted them. The doctor wore a white coat and round glasses. "Ah, you must be the Bond case," he said. Jack raised an eyebrow. "You already know?" Lyra nodded. "I sent a message last night." They were taken to a small room filled with blinking lights and clear walls. The nurse attached some small wires to their heads. Jack sat still, unsure. After a few minutes, the doctor looked at the screen and frowned. "Well," the doctor said, "you two are definitely linked. Neural echoes are matching. Emotional signals are blending. This is a deep bond." Jack looked at Lyra. "So it's real?" "Yes," she answered. "It was an accident, but now it's part of us." The doctor nodded. "This kind of bond is rare, but not unknown. Usually, it forms during strong mental events, like extreme fear or joy. You both touched a neurocrystal that can open the mind if done at the same time." Jack crossed his arms. "Can we break it?" The doctor looked unsure. "Breaking it is possible, but it can be painful, emotionally and mentally. Some people never fully recover. Others, they grow closer." Lyra stayed quiet. Her eyes looked down. Jack felt a small wave of sadness, but it wasn't his. It was hers. "I can feel what she feels," Jack said slowly. "That will happen," the doctor said. "The bond lets you sense each other's emotions. Sometimes even thoughts, if strong enough." Jack leaned back in the chair. "This is a lot." The doctor gave them a device. "This will help train your minds. You need to learn how to block the link when needed, and how to share safely. Come back next week. We'll check progress." Back in the room, Jack sat on his bed, holding the small device. It looked like a round stone with a soft light. Lyra sat across from him. "I'm sorry," she said. Jack looked at her. "For what?" "For the bond. For the trouble. I didn't want this." Jack shrugged. "Me neither, but now it's here. So we deal with it." Lyra gave a small smile. Her first real smile since they met. They started using the device. It made soft sounds and showed light patterns. They had to match their thoughts with the light. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes it didn't. Jack learned that Lyra liked quiet places, that she missed her planet's twin suns. Lyra learned that Jack used to build machines with his father back on Earth. Days passed. The bond became easier to manage. Jack could now tell when Lyra was upset without her saying a word, and she could sense when he was lying about being fine. They still had moments of confusion, but it got better. One evening, Jack sat by the window, looking at the stars. Lyra joined him. "Do you miss Earth?" she asked. "Yeah," Jack said, "but not as much as I thought I would." "Why not?" Jack turned to her. "Maybe because I'm not alone here." Lyra looked at him for a long moment. "Neither am I." That night, Jack didn't feel strange going to sleep. He knew she was close, but it didn't scare him. It felt right. The bond was no longer a problem. It was something new, something they would face together. The space station was always busy, but today it felt louder than usual. A drill had been announced. Everyone had to follow safety rules and go to their assigned places. Jack and Lyra stood in a hallway with other students, waiting for the drill to start. Jack looked around. "These drills are boring," he said. Lyra nodded. "But important." Suddenly, the lights blinked. Then everything went dark. The usual low hum of the station stopped. People gasped. The hallway filled with a strange silence. "That's not part of the drill," Jack said. An alarm started to sound, louder and faster than normal. A voice came over the speaker. "This is not a drill. Reactor failure in Sector 4. Evacuate calmly." Students began to panic. Some ran. Others froze. Jack grabbed Lyra's hand. "Come on. We need to help." Lyra hesitated. "We should go to safety. We can help fix it. You know the systems. I know the tools." She looked at him for a second, then nodded. They ran against the crowd towards Sector 4. As they moved, Jack felt the bond grow stronger. He could sense Lyra's fear, but also her focus. She felt his courage. Smoke filled the hallway near Sector 4. The door was half closed. Jack pushed it open. Inside, lights flashed red and machines sparked. 2 engineers were already inside, trying to control the damage. One of them turned to Jack. "We need help shutting the main valve." Jack rushed to a control panel. "Lyra, can you read the system status?" She touched the screen. Her 4 eyes moved quickly. "Overload in the coolant line. If it breaks, the core will overheat." Jack climbed to the top of the machine. He pulled out his tools and began to work fast. His hands moved with skill. Lyra guided him from below. He heard her voice clearly in his mind. "Turn the valve left, not right." He did as she said. The system calmed a little. The second engineer shouted, "Pressure dropping. Keep going." Together, Jack and Lyra fixed the main problem in 10 minutes. The room stopped shaking. The lights returned to normal. The alarm stopped. Everyone took a deep breath. The head engineer looked at them. "You two saved the station." Lyra looked at Jack. "We saved it together." Later that day, they were called to the station's command office. A tall officer stood behind the desk. "You broke protocol," he said, "but you also prevented disaster. Your bond allowed you to work as one." Jack stayed quiet. Lyra looked calm. The officer sighed. "You've gained attention, both good and bad. Some think your link is dangerous. Others think it's powerful." After they left, students and teachers started looking at them differently. Some smiled, thankful. Others stared with cold eyes. In the hallway, Jack whispered, "We're famous now." "Not all fame is good," Lyra said. Some students asked questions. "Can you read each other's minds? Do you feel pain at the same time?" Jack didn't like the way they looked at Lyra. That night, Jack sat on his bed, thinking. "Do you want to break the bond?" he asked. Lyra didn't answer right away. "At first, I did. Now, I'm not sure." Jack nodded. "Same here." They sat in silence for a long time. The next day, the university gave them an award for bravery. Their pictures were placed on the main screen. News spread to other stations. Messages came from Earth and Lyra's home world. With attention came pressure. Scientists wanted to study them. Some wanted to test their minds. One professor even asked if they would allow others to try the same bond. Jack said no. "We're not a project," he told them. Lyra stood beside him. "We are people, not tools." They went back to their room, tired. "Do you think this bond is good?" Jack asked. Lyra closed her eyes. "It's hard, but I feel more complete." Jack smiled. "Yeah, me too." He didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing. Lyra was no longer just his alien roommate. She was part of him now. And whatever came next, they would face it together. Jack and Lyra became quiet heroes on the station. After the reactor event, people respected them more, but some still acted strange. A few students kept asking about their bond, as if it was a game or a trick. Jack didn't like it. Lyra didn't say much, but he could feel her discomfort through the link. They spent most of their time training in private. The bond training device helped them stay calm and focused. Jack could now block small thoughts and feelings when needed. Lyra learned how to lower the emotional noise from her side. They also began special lessons with a telepathy coach named Melna. She was part human, part alien, and had worked with bonded pairs before. "You must respect each other's minds," she told them. "A bond is like a door. Don't walk through it without knocking." Jack nodded. "We understand." Melna smiled. "Good. Then we can go deeper." Over the next days, Jack and Lyra started learning how to use the bond in new ways. When working together, they could finish complex tasks faster. Jack would move a tool before Lyra asked. Lyra would answer Jack's questions before he said them. It felt strange at first, but also exciting. One day, Melna said, "You two are sinking faster than any pair I've seen. Be careful. A strong bond brings strong risks." Jack asked, "What kind of risks?" "You may feel things that are not yours. Anger, fear, even love. You may not know which emotions are real. That confusion can be dangerous. Jack and Lyra looked at each other, but said nothing. Later, in their room, Lyra sat by the small desk. Jack was fixing a small broken drone. They worked in silence until Lyra said, "Do you think the bond is changing us?" Jack put down his tool. "Yes, but maybe it's not bad." She looked down. "I feel things I don't understand." "Me too," Jack said, "but I don't hate it." The next day, a message arrived. A rival student named Doran, from a cold planet, had asked to meet them. He had often spoken against human-alien bonds, saying they were unnatural. Jack didn't trust him, but Lyra said, "We should hear what he wants." They met in a lab room. Doran stood beside a large machine with glowing wires. He smiled, but it was a cold smile. "You've made quite the show," Doran said. "But that bond of yours is dangerous. It must be broken." Jack stepped forward. "It's not your business." "Oh, but it is," Doran said. "If your bond fails and causes harm, we all pay the price. That's why I built this. A bond breaker. It can end your connection safely." Lyra stared at the machine. "Has it been tested?" Doran shook his head. "No, but it will work." Jack didn't like the look in his eyes. "We're not going to be your test subjects." Doran turned on the machine. It hummed with power. Lights flickered. "You should thank me," he said. "I'm helping you." Lyra stepped back, but was too late. A beam shot from the machine and hit both her and Jack. Jack screamed as pain filled his head. Images flashed in his mind, memories, feelings, noise. Lyra collapsed to the floor. Jack tried to reach her, but couldn't move. Then something snapped. The machine exploded in sparks. Smoke filled the room. Jack fell to the ground. When he woke up, everything was quiet. He was in the med lab. The ceiling lights were soft. A doctor stood beside him. "You're lucky," the doctor said. "You were out for 2 days." Jack tried to sit up. "Lyra, she's alive, but shaken. The bond changed. It is now more stable, but deeper." Jack closed his eyes. He could feel her again like a warm light nearby. Later, Lyra entered the room. She looked tired but smiled when she saw him. "You're awake," she said. Jack nodded. "I thought I lost you." She sat beside him. "You didn't. We're still connected. But something is different." Jack reached for her hand. "Do you regret it?" Lyra shook her head. "No. I feel closer to you now. I trust you." Jack smiled. "Then we face what comes next together." And for the first time, they didn't feel like two different beings. They felt like one team, ready for whatever the stars had planned for them. Jack spent most of the next day resting in the med lab. His body was weak, but his mind was clear. He could feel Lyra in the back of his thoughts, like a quiet song playing far away. It was different now, softer but stronger. He didn't have to try to hear her. She was just there. When Lyra visited again, she sat beside his bed and watched him for a while. "You feel better?" she asked. "Yeah," Jack said, "still tired, but I'll be okay." She looked down. "The others are talking. Some think we should be separated." Jack frowned. "Why? We didn't do anything wrong. They are afraid of what we might become. The bond is now permanent. Some think it could grow too strong." Jack sat up a little. "It's not a weapon. It's just a connection." Lyra nodded. "But they don't see it that way." Later that day, a message came from Earth. Jack was being called back. The government wanted to study the bond. They called it important research. Lyra was ordered to stay on the station for more tests. Jack sat in their room, holding the message pad. Lyra stood by the window, watching the stars. "They want to separate us," Jack said, "like we're just parts in a lab." Lyra turned to him. "Will you go?" Jack shook his head. "Not without you." She walked over and sat beside him. For a long time, they said nothing. Then Jack whispered, "We could leave?" Lyra looked surprised. "Where?" "There are outer colonies. Places where humans and aliens live together. We could find one. Live free." Lyra looked at him closely. "You would leave everything for me?" "Not just for you. Jack said. For us, I don't want to be studied. I want to live my life with you. They made a plan, quiet and careful. They knew the station would try to stop them if they found out. Jack spoke to a few trusted friends. Lyra found an old shuttle used for field trips. It could still fly if fixed. They worked late at night. Jack repaired the shuttle systems. Lyra programmed a path through the outer regions, avoiding patrols. The night of their escape came fast. Jack packed a small bag. Lyra carried a case of data and supplies. They moved through the halls without speaking. The bond helped them stay in sync. Every step felt natural. When they reached the dock, Jack felt a rush of nerves. You sure about this? He asked. Lyra nodded. With you, yes. They entered the shuttle. Jack started the engine. It hummed to life. As the bay doors opened, an alarm sounded. They know, Lyra said. Jack pushed the shuttle forward. A security team appeared behind them, shouting, but it was too late. The shuttle flew out into space, engines glowing. They didn't stop until they reached a quiet space, far from the main paths. A small moon spun below. It had air, water, and life. They landed near a small colony. People there were different. Humans, aliens, and mixed families lived together. No one asked too many questions. Jack found work fixing machines. Lyra joined a lab that studied neuroscience. They stayed low, changed their names, and kept to themselves. At night, they sat outside and watched the stars. Do you miss the station? Lyra asked. Sometimes, Jack said, but not as much as I thought I would. Lyra leaned closer. I'm glad we're here. Jack smiled. Me too. One evening, a child from the colony asked, Are you two bonded? Jack and Lyra looked at each other. Yes, Jack said. We are. The child smiled. Cool. I want to bond like that one day. Lyra laughed softly. Maybe someday. As they watched the child run away, Jack took Lyra's hand. The bond between them felt calm and warm. They had escaped fear, control, and tests. Now they had something real. They didn't know what the future would bring, but they knew this. They were free, they were together, and they were stronger than ever before. Jack stood on the roof of their small home and looked up at the night sky. The stars were bright on this quiet moon. He could still feel the bond between him and Lyra. It was calm, steady, like a soft voice in the back of his mind. They had lived here for 3 months now. Life was simple, but good. In the mornings, Jack fixed machines for the colony. He repaired water pumps, solar panels, and delivery bots. He liked working with his hands. It helped him feel normal. Lyra spent her days in the colony science center. She worked with others to study neural energy. She didn't tell many people about the bond, but those who knew respected her. She was quiet but kind and very smart. The people in the colony came from many places. Some were human, some alien, some something in between. No one cared where you were from, as long as you helped and lived in peace. Jack and Lyra grew closer each day. They shared food, stories, and quiet moments. At night, they often sat outside together and listened to the wind. The bond helped them understand each other, without words. One evening, while they were walking to the market, a group of strangers arrived. Their ship was large and shiny. The newcomers wore black uniforms and moved like soldiers. Jack whispered, They don't look like traders. Lyra nodded. They're not. The leader of the group stepped forward and showed a badge. We are here to check for missing persons and stolen tech. Jack and Lyra froze. They knew what this meant. The station must have sent people to find them. Later that night, they sat in their small living room. Lyra looked worried. They are searching homes tomorrow, she said. If they scan our bond, they'll know who we are. Jack stood up. We can't run again. We just got here. Lyra looked at him. Then we hide the bond. If we can block it fully for a short time, maybe the scan won't show anything. They practiced that night. Jack focused on quieting his mind. Lyra did the same. They used the training device from the station. It glowed softly in the dark as they sat across from each other. By morning, they could barely feel each other. The bond was still there, but almost silent. The soldiers came house by house. When they reached Jack and Lyra's home, They scanned everything. Jack showed his ID. Lyra spoke little. The scanner made a soft beep, then a green light. All clear, the officer said. Thank you for your time. When they left, Jack closed the door and leaned against it. We did it, he said. Lyra nodded, but her face was serious. They'll be back. Maybe not tomorrow, but one day. The next week, the strangers left. But Jack and Lyra knew they weren't truly safe. They started planning again. This time, not to run, but to protect their home. Jack built a new device using parts from old bots. It could block scans for a whole area. Lyra helped him test it. They hid it under the floor. They also taught the colony's children about peace and friendship. They spoke about trust and working together. They didn't mention the bond, but they showed how two different people could live as one. One day, the colony leader, an older woman named Mira, called them to her office. I know who you are, she said. I knew from the start. Jack and Lyra said nothing. Mira smiled. You didn't bring trouble here. You brought hope. People see how you work together, how you care for each other. That matters more than where you came from. Jack felt a warm feeling in his chest. Lyra looked calm. Mira stood. If anyone comes again, we'll stand with you. This is your home now, too. That night, Jack and Lyra sat outside again. The stars were quiet, but their hearts were full. Do you think we'll ever stop running? Jack asked. Lyra leaned her head on his shoulder. Maybe, or maybe we just keep walking until the world catches up with us. Jack smiled. As long as we walk together. Lyra closed her eyes. Always. The bond between them, once a mistake, had become their greatest strength. And now, even in a quiet corner of space, that strength was building something new. A life, a home, and a future they chose for themselves. Jack woke up to the soft sound of wind moving through the trees outside. The sun was rising, painting the sky with orange and blue. He turned and saw Lyra still sleeping beside him. Her face looked peaceful. He smiled, feeling the bond warm and quiet in his mind. It had been a year since they escaped the station. A full year of learning, building, and healing. The colony had grown too. More families had joined. There were new houses, schools, and even a small spaceport. Jack and Lyra were not just survivors anymore. They were part of the colony. People came to them for advice, for help, and for friendship. After breakfast, Jack went to his workshop. He had started building a new kind of drone, one that could help in search and rescue. Lyra walked in an hour later, carrying a cup of tea. You forgot to drink again, she said. Jack laughed. I got busy. She handed him the cup. You always get busy. They sat together, looking over the design. Lyra pointed out a small mistake in the code. Jack fixed it with a grin. We make a good team, he said. She nodded. We always have. Later that day, a visitor arrived at the colony. He wore simple clothes and carried no weapons, but his eyes showed that he had traveled far. He asked to see Jack and Lyra. They met in the main hall. The man introduced himself as Aaron, a speaker from a new peace group. He explained that times were changing. Some leaders now saw the value in bonds between humans and aliens. There are others like you, Aaron said, but they hide, afraid. Your story gives them hope. We want you to speak to the wider worlds, to show them what peace can look like. Jack and Lyra looked at each other. We left that life behind, Jack said. We want to be free, not famous. Aaron nodded. But freedom grows stronger when shared. If more people understand, fewer will fear. Lyra spoke softly. We will think about it. That night, they sat outside again. The stars were bright. The moon felt calm. Do you want to go back out there? Jack asked. Lyra shook her head. Not to the past, but maybe to the future. He looked at her. We could help. Show them it's possible. That we're not dangerous. She smiled. Then we go. Together. In the weeks that followed, they prepared for the journey. The colony helped build a new ship. It was small but strong, designed by Jack and powered by ideas from Lyra's research. Before they left, the whole colony gathered to say goodbye. Children hugged them. Friends wished them luck. Mira, The leader gave him a small stone with the colony symbol. "Wherever you go," she said, "remember you always have a home here." As they flew away, Jack looked down at the place they had loved and protected. He held Lyra's hand. "Do you think they'll listen to us?" he asked. "Some will," Lyra said, "and that's enough to begin." They traveled to different stations and planets. They spoke to groups, showed how their bond worked, and explained what it meant. Some people welcomed them. Some did not, but many listened. Jack told their story in simple words about fear, escape, and finding peace. Lyra spoke of the science, of how minds could connect without harm. Together, they showed that trust was possible. Over time, they saw a change. New laws were written, new research began, and new bonds were formed between different beings who once feared each other. One evening, in a garden on a peaceful station, Jack sat beside Lyra. They watched a human and an alien child play together. "Look how far we've come," Jack said. Lyra nodded. "And how far we can still go." Jack leaned close. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we never met?" "Sometimes," Lyra said. "But then I remember that night when I woke up scared and found you. Everything changed." Jack smiled. "And what happened next surprised us both." Lyra laughed. "Yes, but I'm glad it did." They sat together under the stars, no longer just a human and alien, but something more. Two souls, bonded by chance, held together by choice. And their story was only just beginning.